Hey guys, so last time um, we did the new fiber. So we left off with creating a fiber structure, but we pretty much did nothing with it. I think we might have console logged this out, so that's what I'm gonna do. Yeah, so we have this fiber created, but besides that, we don't have anything. So okay, so that fiber is the descendant of the root, as you can see. So we have the parent is the root, but later on we will need this direction to be the other way around as well, so we need to make it bidirectional. So what we need to do is we need to create the child to point to new fiber. And so if I just refresh it now, what I should have, the parents should have a child which points back to the same fiber. So that's one thing. But the bigger problem is that we are approaching to the point where we need to do some modification to the DOM. So in other words, we are closing to the painting phase. So soon the rendering phase will be over and we need to create the side effects. So the way to do this is we need to keep track of what needs to be done. So we need to have another field in this fiber which will be called effects, and this will contain basically every effect that how would I say needs to be done, or they will need to be flushed to the DOM. So all right, and another thing that we said that we want to, so that you can stop the rendering phase at any point of time, it's not an issue, but all the painting should be atomic. What I mean by that is, once you start flushing out all the effects to the DOM, then it should happen at once. So it shouldn't be shouldn't be in this while loop, because this while loop can be interrupted. So it should happen afterwards. So let's have commit, or just simply have, I think the naming conventions might be different. I don't know. Let's just call it commit all work, and actually let's have another global variable which will be called pending commit. Yes. Commit all work pending commit. Okay. So task queue, let's subtask let pending commit equals null. Okay, we need to have a function of commit all work. Which will do something, and this should only be called if we have a pending commit. Okay, so I will get to it, just give me a sec. All right. Okay, so this fx should be on every fiber, so I'm gonna put it here. And what we need to do is, so this execute subtask is returning a fiber by default, but it only returns a fiber if there are more fibers in the actual tree that needs to be processed. In our case, we have only one child, remember? So if you come back, we have only a div. So this time it will return nothing. And if it returns nothing, then it will just stop working. Because if subtask is undefined or null, then it will go to the next stage. So what we want to do is when it returns nothing, then we want to have a pending commit, and that pending commit ideally should contain all the effects that is needed to have the painting done. So we have this make inventory of what needs to be painted here, and let's actually start working here. So let's console log out, let's console log the fiber out here. So the fiber here is different than the fiber in the line 65 because we did the reconciled children, so we attached the child, and the child also have has a parent. So at this point, if I just get it, then you can see that we have the child, and the child has the parent at this point. So what we need to do is okay, so the only problem is that the reason why we can't go and get the effects that is required for the painting phase is because we only processed the root fiber, right? So the problem is that we have the root fiber, we begin task on root fiber, but along the way, since it had a child, we created another fiber, so we need to process that fiber as well. Because just imagine in a scenario where it does have a child or children, then we need to do the same thing. We're not going to do that because it would be a bit more complicated at the moment, but we definitely need to process that fiber as well. So what we need to do is we need to, so if a fiber, and remember this point, this fiber has a child, as you can see here. So if this fiber has a child, then just simply return fiber.child. So just let's think about what's going to happen this time. So we're going to return the child, in which our case is this div, and when it's returned, it's going to iterate through again and going to execute subtask. So it's going to execute the other fiber, like the empty div, which is not the root, and I think it's gonna fail at this moment. Nope, but I think it should have. Let's just console log the fiber out. Yeah, okay, now it fails, which is good. Okay, so the problem is that it cannot read property children of undefined, and I believe that is because this div, so let's go here, so you have a child, so props children is, so it's because of two reasons. So first of all, the host div, children is an object, and we treated it so, like we just accessed, so it was children.props, but now we have children as an array. So it's gonna be a terrible solution, but I just want to make it work. So in the second case, it will be an array. So array is array children. So that's the first thing, and also it's an empty array, so it doesn't have any more child. So you don't need to run reconcileChildren array. Actually, it's not just you don't need to, you must not run, because it will throw an error. It doesn't have the right fields. So we also need to do children.length not equals 0, then do something, and the do something part is just gonna replicate everything. Yeah, it's a terrible solution, but we're gonna refactor everything later on. Okay, and in this case, just access the 0th element and everything, because it's not gonna work on multiple children. We need to come up with a different solution with that, but it's just gonna work fine, I suppose. Yeah, so it at least not breaking. So what we did now is, so we worked on the root div and then created a fiber and attached it to the root div, and since after the begin test function it has a child now, and we return the child, so now when we iterate it through, we can execute we can execute every process that we want on that fiber, but that fiber doesn't have any child, so we're just simply going to skip this whole method, come back here, and yeah, that's it. So now let's see what we have. So we have the parent as the div root, we have props, which is an empty array, we have the state node created. Okay, so far it is good, but we still don't know what to do with this information, right? So what we need to do is okay, so we need to grab all the effects and propagate up to the root node. So executed fiber equals fiber. Okay, so let's start with checking that so we have a fiber, and okay, so let's assume that now we need, so we're not doing any deletion or we're not doing any updates on our fibers. The only thing that we're gonna do is basically like creation, to say. So React describes this as a field called effect tag. So we're gonna call it placement. So what we want to do is okay, maybe we should check this so we can be sure that the parent exists. So its effects will be so what we're trying to do is getting all its children's effects to the parent effect. So it takes its effect, then it will take the children's effect, and then it will take its own effect, which is currently executed fiber, I suppose. Later on, what we want to do is we will only want to concatenate it conditionally when it has some effect tag. We're just going to ignore it because we know that it needs to be created. Okay, and currently executed fiber equals currently executed fiber dot parent. Okay. Okay, and can I do something like pending commit equals currently executed fiber, and I just want console log out pending commit. So pending commit comes here. FX. Okay. So I know it might be a lot, but let's just go through what happened here. So in our case, we created one new fiber, which is the representation of this div, right? So I think it's quite clear what we did here. We assigned the props, the types, the tag, state node, parent, effects, and effect tag. So you can even omit the effect tag. It's not gonna play any role in our case at the moment. So I just wanna get it out of the picture, so it won't be any so it won't be there. So we have this effects array, and we have the effects array on the host root as well here. So what we want to do is we want to gather all the children's effects along with our own effect and put it to the parent. So this way you can basically like hoover up all the effects from the leaf of the tree to the root. And from there, so effects are basically just fibers with an effect tag. So that's an effect. And later on, when we want to paint the things to the DOM, the fiber has all the information that we need, right? So it has the parent that you need to append it to, or you need to remove the child from. It has all the props which you need to put it onto the div. Just think about the styles, the event handlers. So it has the state nodes, so it knows what to append. It has the parent, so it knows where to append. So it has every information. So effects are basically fibers that need some modifications. So there will be a lot of times to think about it, like the previous fiber and the current fiber is identical, then you don't have to do anything. They just need to sit there, and they won't have an effect tag. But this time we definitely know that at the first render, like there will be tons of placement effects. So Okay, so that's what I think. It's very simple. So what's happening here is we are iterating through and leveraging the fact that we assign the parent tag in the fiber. So we eventually, what this means, if you don't have any parent, that means that you reach the root, and when you reach the root, then you know that there are no more fibers left. And this pending commit is basically a way to say that to make the root available in as a global variable. So later on, when you come here, you can check that the pending commit will only be not null when you reach to a point when there are no more child, and later on siblings as well, so we will check the siblings later on, but there are no more child, and you grabbed all the effects from the leaves and put them to the root. So in this case you have the pending commit, and no, that's the part, that's the committal work, that is the painting phase. So that will be outside of the while loop and the request idle callback, because you wanna do this at once. So what's happening here is we can console log the fiber out, and this fiber should actually be the pending commit. Okay, so it's line 72. Sweet. So this should be the root. So state node root, and it should have one effect, and this effect should be the div. Yeah. Okay. So far so good. So what we need to do is we need to grab the fiber, grab its effects, do for each, and for now let's just console log. So this, as you can see, effects array, this should console log this div, this fiber that contains a state node of that div. So let's just get it out, and here you go. So we have this, and what we need at this moment, so still just only div, that's the only thing we have. So what we need to do is we have the item, which is the fiber that has the effect. So in our case we have its parent, and the parent is a fiber, and every fiber has a state node, which is in our case a div element. So as every div element, not div element, just a DOM element, has a method append child, and we want to append the actual fiber, which is item.state node. Okay, so if I refresh it, now I expect it to have a div inside of the root, which it does. Okay, so that's pretty good. Oh, that's pretty good. Now I wanna make it a bit more visual. So what I can do is I wanna get this done, and I think it's gonna break the app, whatever it is. And it actually creates a text element inside there, so it creates it, but yeah, because it's not create element. So children dot type equals text element, then it's document, I don't know what the name of the create node, the create text node, with children dot props dot node value, maybe, still not the best thing. Ah yeah, because I think that this needs to come here. Yeah, that's a terrible implementation, but we will refine these things. Okay. Still text element. Okay, so where is commit all work? Commit all work. Let's console log the fiber again. So it should have two effects. State node text element. Create text node. Props.node value. Type. Ah, okay, yeah, because I need this there again. Okay, so if I do, oh voila. Okay, so that's pretty damn great. Okay, so the code is terrible. We're gonna refactor it in the next video. Definitely, but we got to a point where it actually works, as you can see. So it's the virtual DOM, the rendering phase and the painting phase is kind of working, and what we had as a JSX, as you can see here, is being rendered to the DOM. Let's check the element structure. As you can see, you can have a div and an app. It's the exact same thing that you were expecting based on the JSX. So yeah, I think that's pretty big. We have the code set up. So next time I wanna refactor the whole thing, and we can go over what was happening, and then comes the fun part. See you until then, guys. Bye.